Okay, I hope everybody read pages 9 and 10 that goes with this lesson because we're going to be using vocabulary from those pages. So what this table shows us is data for XYZ Corporation published at the close of 2 different trading days. Okay, so there is a corporation, XYZ Corp, that has stock, and their stock trades on the open market, the New York Stock Exchange, and this is the information from 2 different close of business dates, May 5th and May 12th, so 2 different days. So it's just giving you the data for 2 different days. And here's the first example. What was the difference between the high and low prices on May 5th? So we're going to be looking at this column here. So the day's high price was $52.60. It tells you right there. The low price was $49. Okay. So we want to know the difference between the high and the low. You simply subtract them. Remember, difference means subtract. So $52.60 minus $49 is $3.60. So the difference between the high and low prices on May 5th was $3.60. So we're going to work this one together. The difference between the high and low prices on May 12th. Well, the high price was $51.40, and the low price was $50.60. You just take the difference, just subtract them, and it looks like that's going to be $0.80. So that one's easy, so look for those on your assignment. Those are the easier ones. All right. The next example. On May 12th, the actual volume of XYZ shares, on May 12th, what was the actual volume of XYZ shares posted? Write the volume in thousands. Actually, I'm going to take that down. Okay. The data for May 12th does not use the category name volume. Sales in hundreds indicates the volume. So for May 12th, the sales in hundreds is this number here, 32,000. Because volume in hundreds is the number of groups of 100 shares traded, 32,000 hundreds is written as 32,000 times 100. Or when you multiply that, you get 3,200,000. That's the actual volume or number of shares that were traded that day on May 12th. Not 32,000, it would be 32,000 times 100, which would be 3,200,000. Okay. If the table was represented as thousands, that represents number of groups of 1,000 shares. So if I wanted to take the total volume, 3,200,000, and represent that in volume as thousands instead of hundreds, I'll just take that number, divide by 1,000, and that would be 3,200. That means there were 3,200,000 shares traded. So you got to look to see what the table is giving you as far as the volume goes. Is it hundreds or thousands? And then just multiply the amount times whatever it's given to you in either hundreds or thousands. Okay, on May 5th, what was the actual volume of XYZ shares posted? Write the volume in thousands. All right, so on May 5th, this is our table here, we had 28,000, but those are groups of hundreds. So I'm going to take 28,000 times 100 first. And that's going to give me 2,800,000 shares. That's actual shares that were traded that day or sold, bought and sold. 2,800,000 shares of that stock were bought and sold that day. Now, this number is given to us in hundreds. This is the actual amount, but the question says write the volume in thousands. So in thousands, what I would do here is divide this by 1,000, and that would give me 2,800 thousands. So in thousands, that would be my answer. Okay. All right, moving on. At what price? Hang on a second. At what price did XYZ Corporation close on May 4th? XYZ Corporation ended the trading day on May 5th with a closing price of $52.20. So in this table, this was the last trade for this day. This was the last price that a share of that company was either bought or sold. This reflected a change of $2.61 from the previous day's close. This entry labeled change. So this was the last trade, the dollar amount, and that was a change from the previous day of this amount, $2.61. If we write an equation, let x represent the closing price on May 4th, which we don't know. Here's this x. Write an equation for the current day closing price as the previous day's closing price plus the change. So here's what I want you to understand. This was the last trade, which was a change from the previous day of $2.61, positive $2.61. What we're trying to find is the previous day's close. Well, the previous day's close, they're representing as just X because that's a number that we don't know. We're trying to find out. And then whatever the previous day, the last trade on the previous day, whatever that was, if you go up by $2.61, you get to the closing price of on May 5th. Which was $52.20. That's how they get this equation. And then you just subtract 261 from both sides, and you get x equals 49.59. So that was, remember, that was the previous day's close, which is what we're answering here. So let's try one. Let's try this one, the one that's highlighted. At what price did XYZ Corporation close on May 11th? And what this is giving us is the May 12th information. Well, the last trade on May 12th, the last stock, the last share of that company was either bought or sold at this price, $49.98. That was a change from the previous day of negative $155. Okay, so here's how we set this up. It's really easy. The previous day's close was X. The change was negative $155, and once we changed it by that much, it got us to $49.98. And to figure out what the previous day's close was, you just solve this equation by adding 155. So the previous day's close was $51.53. Okay, moving on. Use the May 4th closing price from example 3. That's this one, $49.59. Use the May 4th closing price from example 3 and the May 5th opening price to find the difference in prices as a percent increase. So I need the May 5th opening price. I've got this number here. I need the May 5th opening price. Well, on May 5th, right there, this column here, it opened at $50.10. So I'm using $49.59 and I'm using $50.10 to find the percent of change or the percent increase. So remember, I take the difference in the two amounts, so I subtract them. So I'm taking $50.10, this number here, the open amount, minus the close amount, which we found here in this example, divide it by the original amount, and then times 100. When you subtract these, you get 0.010284 times 100 would be 1.03. So there was a 1.03% increase in the price per share. So let's try one on our own. Use the May 11th closing price from the previous Check Your Understanding and the May 12th opening price. Well, the May 12th opening price was $49.90. And the previous example that we did was the $51.53 that we found. So the May 11th closing was $51.53. Okay. We're going to find the difference as a percent decrease, round to the nearest hundredth percent. So I'm going to do 49.90 minus 51.53 divided by the original amount, 51.53, where it started at. This was the May 11th closing. That was the May 12th opening. So 49.90 minus 51.53 divided by 51.53 49.90 minus 51.53 is negative 1.63 divided by 51.53 is negative 0.0316 times 100 is negative 3.16, or we would say a 3.16%